Hello, classmates and tutor. Today we are meeting here our classmates Alicia Chiquillo, Laura Payares, Lilia Leones, Brian Calderon, and me, Suhey Daza. To verify that our microphones works well, I greet them all of you. Okay? Hello, Brian. How are you today?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm excellent. I expect you are okay.
I'm good, thank you. How are you, Lilia?
Hello, Susai. I'm very good. Hello, partner. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Um, Hello, Alicia. How are you today? How was your day?
Hello, Suhei. I'm really great. Thank you very much. What about you?
I'm okay, thank you. Hello, Laura. How are you today?
Hello, everyone. I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm very well, thank you. Okay, I will start with the lecture and then you will ask different questions. And in this way, we can do it one by one. Okay? Today, the topic to be discussed is the movement
Yes.
Me Too. Its founder is the activist Tarama Burke, who since 2006 initiated his plans of actions against sexual abuse, which is one of the most impunity crime of our society, and that is a fact of all. For this reason, it has to spread to the whole world. This movement seeks to empower women to raise their voices against their victimizers and thus make visible the magnitude of the problem, despite the obvious that is. The mobilization has been attacked by the media, which distort the real objective of the movement and try to hide a truth that we all know happens and that involves presidents, police authorities, militaries, and even religious leaders that are supposed must watch over and guide the moral and the ethical conduct of our society, which is very, very sad. Here in Colombia, during peace process, the newspaper El País published at the end of 2016 that there are 15,000 victims of sexual violence committed by the rebel group of the FARC. This situation has confronted the country against peace process, but also allowed victims to join with these social mobilizations and shout Me Too. This process of accepting victims and overcoming the painful trauma of abuse, which is repeated daily, allows them to tell their histories and with the company with the other victims to heal wounds. And the movement Me Too has become a path that sensitizes our society and make visible the crime and become aware the magnitude of the problem and the deep affectations suffered by all victims. Okay, classmate, that was my interventions. Do you have any question for me?
Yes, Suhei, thank you very much for your participation. I have a question for you. My question is following. After watching the video, did the movement Me Too manage to change something in you?
I'm very conservative, Alicia. I like follow the rules and I always do what I think is right. When Tarama speaks about the corporal autonomy as a right of freedom, um, I receive a shocking message in the sense of our re-education of society, because I was one that justified the expression, oh, he touched her because she wear a short skirt or a short dress, and I was wrong, because we have the right to dress as we want, and if we want to look sexy, that doesn't authorize anyone to touch us or attack us. I think, Alicia, that this change of my way of thinking shows that the movement Me Too is achieving its goals. Do you have another question for me?
Yeah, Suhei, I have a question for you. Suhei, have you ever felt a victim of a sexual abuse?
Yes, Lilia. A few years ago, there was a neighbor who harassed me using obscene language. I didn't want to leave my house. I felt scared all the time. And until one day I had the courage to face him and tell him to stop. And then talk to my husband, and he support me. That was a very difficult moment for me and for my family. I think that just being brave and denouncing the abuser, we can stop the aggression. Because when we remain in silence, we in some way we are accomplices, and we allow the abuse to continue. Okay, thank you. We are going to listen our classmate Alicia. Go ahead, Alicia.
Okay, guys, I'm going to share with all of you some ideas about Tarana. Me Too is not a women's movement. Tarana wants the current movement to be more inclusive to people of all genders. Yes, it was women that came forward and talked about it. Yes, it was about women in Hollywood initially coming forward, but men's first role in this movement is as survivors, Tarana says. She also explained that Me Too can only be successful if we as a culture examine everyone's learned behavior, and that includes the men we see as good guys. The Me Too movement has made great strides, taking down Hollywood's executives and uncovering systemic sexual abuse in different communities around the world. This movement is constantly being called a watershed moment or even a reckoning. But she wakes up some days feeling like all evidence points to the contrary. She said, it's hard not to feel numbed. I suspect some of you feel numb too. The backlash against the movement has not been easy. From President Donald Trump, accused of sexual misconduct himself, mocking sexual assault survivors, to pundits calling the movement a witch hunt or sparking a gender war. The road has not been easy. Certainly a movement that was started to support all survivors of sexual violence is being talked about like it's a vindictive plot against men. Finally, Tarana added that the world is experiencing collective trauma in the wake of Me Too, and that what we do with that trauma will determine whether the movement can truly affect change. This accumulation of feeling that so many of us are experiencing together across the globe is collective trauma, but it is also the first step towards actively building a world that we want right now. Okay, guys, I don't know if some of you have some question for me.
I have one question for you, Alicia. What have been the great advances that this movement has had?
Okay, so hey, one of the big advances is that taking down Hollywood executives and uncovering sister sexual abuse in different communities around the world. Another partner?
Yes, I have one question for you. How could the justice system be improved with the objective to protect victims?
Can you repeat, please?
Yes, how could the justice system be improved with the objective to protect victims?
Okay, the idea of Tarana is continue working in this movement because the root has not been easy, but she pretends to share the story of this person and help them in whatever way that they needed.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, after listen our partner Alicia, it's time to listen our classmate Lilia.
Okay, partner. Okay, babe. I'm gonna talk about the short part of the history of the women through the pass of time. As we know, women didn't have the same right as we have today. We didn't have the same opportunity that many years ago. In the past, we were educated for our parents to be a housewife, to train our husband, to train our kids. We don't have the same opportunities to study, the same opportunity to work, and so on. We can name many kind of opportunities that in the past were negative for women. Today, the conditions have changed. We cannot say that are the same as the past, but we are not the same rights around the world. If we look around us, we can find many communities when the women in this time don't have the same rights as we have, for example, in Colombia. We have to study what would happen through the pass of time. Why are the rights that women have and what are the rights for our community? If we look the history, we can find important facts. Many years ago, approximately in 1953, there was a group of hard worker women that they were fighting to achieve a better laboral condition. And what was the answer? They find that her boss made the decision to kill many women in the factory. And many history we can find similar between these facts. In Colombia, the history is not be different. Women, we have to fight for our rights. Approximately in 1944, we have the same opportunity to change the history. In the past, we do not have the opportunity to participate in democratic elections. Just only 54 was the first time by women to have the decision and to select their government. And the history has been changing through the pass of time. But we have a long way to work if we have the same opportunity for women and for males. Me Too is like, if we need to, we can find it like a flag. It's a flag for the right for women, but it's a flag for everybody who wants to fight, improve to achieve the right for everybody in the same condition. Today, we have achieved a better situation in economy. We can study, we can go to universities, we can work in factories, different companies. But today, we have different economic conditions for the same worker with a women, and the same condition if the same job is made by a man. The economic conditions are not the same, and this is one kind of abuse for women. Today, we are going to talk about different conditions for women, not only sexual abuse, because we have to fight for the economic system, for democratic system, for justice system, for laboral system, and for sexual abuse. For example, in Colombia, it's very common to find news every day about women that are attacked by their husband, by the boss. For example, in this moment in Colombia, a woman was killed by her boyfriend, as you know, as you can see in the news. And this is common every day. Maybe because we don't have a strong lawyer system, because we don't have a strong justice system. What happens with the people who attack women? What are the system? What is the system doing for helping us? And what is the community doing? Me Too is one of the movements that we can find throughout the history. It's not the only movement to fight by the women's rights. In the past, we can find many movements, for example, NA, and so on, many another movements. But what was the difference between Me Too and the other? Maybe at the present, we have a powerful tool, and it's the internet connection. The internet connection has been possible, the communication around the world. Maybe today we can express our idea easier than in the past. With the social network, we can raise our voices and make public whatever kind of abuse against the women, against our children, against whatever people, or whatever community. It has not been an easy task, but it's not difficult. It is not impossible. We need to continue working to achieve more goals in our fight. But what is the most important? The connection between all the establishments of the society, government, religious, families, and friends. We have to join force to fight with this problematic situation. If we don't change, the world is not going to change for us. If we don't fight, maybe anybody is going to fight for us. It's my appreciation, it's my opinion. I think that Me Too only is one step in this fight, but we need to have conscience about the problematic situation. It's not only for women. Today, this kind of problematic is for our children and men too. Thank you. Do you have any question for me?
Yes, Karen. I have a question for you, Lilia.
Go ahead.
What do you think about women who do not denounce their abuse?
Okay, my opinion is that we in our society, we can find many people that maybe accept this kind of abuse like normal. And personally, I think that we must not give any opinion about them because we are not facing the same problem. It's difficult to have an opinion when you don't have the same conditions. For example, if I never feel abused, how can I make an opinion from a people who has facing these problematic situations? And the most difficult for them is to accept that they are a victim of any kind of abuse. It is not easy to accept that we are making we are victim of a sexual or any other kind of abuse. I think that we must avoid whatever kind of opinion. Maybe to give one comment about a victim of the sexual abuse, we need to give a friendly hand to say you are not alone. This situation can change. It's possible for you to find a new style of life if you want. If you decide to say yes, stop, it's possible. Maybe this kind of women don't have a family, don't have relatives, don't have another person to say, hello, I'm here, I'm with you. Sometimes only we need a person that hear our problem and give one advice. Is the motivation to say stop.
I have one question for you, Lilia. Will Me Too change the woman's mind who have been victim of sexual abuse?
Thank you, Suhey. Okay, I think that it's difficult. It's difficult to change the opinion and the mind of women around the world. One reason for making difficult this process is the culture. We don't have the same culture around the world. And in different continents, women don't have the same rights as we have in our country, for example. And the culture is a maleness when the man dominates over woman. And it's impossible that this kind of movement transport the mind from one moment to another. It's not impossible, but I think that in this moment, Me Too only is the first step. Maybe in the future, with the pass of the year, many women around the world are going to say stop, no more. But it's the personal decision. It's a personal decision because only when you accept that you are a victim, you can say stop. But when you don't have the conscience about this kind of abuse, it's impossible to accept and find again the problem. Me Too is a powerful movement because it has achieved many important goals around the world against powerful men. For example, Donald Trump, cinematographic manager. Today, the task is to continue with this kind of movement and join force against the system to avoid this kind of sexual abuse against the women.
Okay, thank you, Lilia. Now is the turn for our partner, Laura. Go ahead, Laura.
Thanks. The Me Too movement created since 2006 as the possibility of eradication of sexual abuse worldwide, since its author Tarana Burke was affected on this issue as a child. Burke strokes against this condition because she considers that the violence or sexual abuse caused in a child is reflected when he is an adult, where a repressed, damaged, and resentful person is created. The movement I also stands out for having a broad power of empathy and for having been created to the achieve impossible, emphasize that vulnerability in a human being does not make it fragile and to violate their rights. Do you have any question for me?
Okay, Laura, I have a question for you. What does motivate Sarah Burke to found Me Too?
Okay. She grew up in a low-income family and was raped and sexually assaulted when she was a girl and a teenager. Other
Okay.
question, please?
Yes, I have a question. How could an undeveloped country like Colombia get the same benefits as American women's movement has for their protection?
Okay, Brian. I think that that the Me Too movement right now nowadays in Colombia because Björk have a initiation for the other countries before Colombia.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay.
Okay, classmate. The last participant is our partner Brian. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay. Well, in this part, I would like to talk and give my opinion about advantages and disadvantages of this movement that I have looked up through some articles and videos. Let's begin with the first advantage. With this Me Too movement, women are finally listened and helped. This means that their denunciations could affect to the victimizers, and the truth and justice come to the light. Second advantage, the movement is worldwide. Many countries in the last 10, 15 years are joined to this. So it implies that women affected could say, enough, I want to join this, and why not to give the chance to take away the traumas. Number three, some governments with the arrival of this movement has changed, excuse me, the way to think and have modified some regulations that protect and benefit women affected. Um, with this, when a woman says enough, the assaultments, harassments, and assaults can finally find a period of the end, and some victimized thoughts could be in the impunity anymore. And one of the other thing that I found in my research, um, women have created a kind of software that could help men to understand first in a virtual reality how a woman suffer this kind of threats. So, and in Great Britain, there are some kind of workshops when men can attend them and change the way to think, because women is not an object, it's an human too, and we as a man have to respect them. And disadvantages, well, as some countries have accepted very well this movement, others no, are fighting every day to these foundations. So, and the other could be the lack of economical sources, because in Africa, women fight against men, but usually are they aren't usually being listened. So I think these are disadvantages so far. Does anybody has a question for me?
Brian, I have a question for you.
Yes.
How come undeveloped country as Colombia get the same benefits what American women movement has for their protection?
Well, this is a hard question because our country doesn't have enough sources, economically talking. So when this movement comes to Colombia, I expect that most women, affected and not affected, join together and look for that way to get resources, because we know our justice system is complicated. So join forces, look the way, and donation, marathons, work. So this is a work for together.
Okay, thank you. Well, classmate, it was a good experience to share with this space with you. Do you have or do you want add something about the topic? No? It was good to talk and learn about this important movement that is present around the world. Okay, thank you all for coming and to be here today. Until the next time. Bye bye.
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 Bye bye.